Welcome back to Beer There, Drunk That. We're going on week 3 of gout issues. This could be a genuine record.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
Has anyone gotten in contact with the Guinness Book of World Records about that? The longest gout flare?
The Goudis Book of World Records.
Yeah,
I got in
exactly.
touch with the Guinness cans in my fridge,
Nice.
and they said, "Drink
Nice.
me."
All right. Well, we have a friend with us today who you may have heard his name once, twice, 300 times maybe. Um we've got our buddy Matt here. Matt, you want to kind of introduce yourself?
Oh, all right. Really happy to be here on my second favorite milk podcast. Uh, can't wait to get into all the things that are milk related. I hear we have some opinions.
Well, what are yours?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's where we'll start.
I need that thick, creamy tit liquid or nothing. Give me whole milk from the cow. I don't need any of that nut juice. No, thank you.
No, so Luke just kind of lives in this same milk opinion bubble and doesn't experience anything different.
I
No
Excuse
wonder.
have.
me.
No wonder.
It's just not good.
No wonder.
I was listen. After our conversation with Sophie, I broadened my horizons a little. I'll never try this stuff
I was
because
just
it
gonna
sounds
say. I
disgusting.
was just gonna say. You did not go home and try it because I'll put $1,000 on that.
Absolutely not. No, never.
It's
Never.
amazing what happens when you talk to a woman for the first time.
I
Suddenly, Luke's
hope to try
changing.
it someday.
Well,
Should
what are we
we?
going to drink today? Yeah.
Can I start? Because I'm in a new environment. I know we
Uh-oh.
haven't released our YouTube production of these yet, if we ever do. Um,
Too much work for
but for
me.
those of you that can't see, it is a lot of work for you, Donnie, which I don't necessarily want you to have. I am in my Boston Red Sox themed childhood bedroom in Rochester, New York. So what am I gonna drink other than a Jenny? So I have the
Yeah.
mango peach Kolsch in my hand. I did try it before the podcast, so it's not an extra first sips, but I'm drinking mango peach.
Nice. I'm
Sweet.
excited to see your facial expression while you drink it,
I bet
and
you
then
would.
gatekeep that from everyone else. I'm drinking a Chili Rabbit, which is just a cold IPA from Lakefront. It's a solid beer. I've had these before on the podcast. I think it was the last one in my fridge.
Matt, what about you? What are you drinking?
I am having the Dewey Secret Machine Cherry Blackberry Pie Fruit Smoothie Sour.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wow.
See, this is why I like Matt. One of the reasons I like Matt is he also chooses beer with the longest possible name.
Yeah, wait for my second one today. Or first.
We're gonna
We'll
have to get a
see.
pitch count on these guys.
Yeah.
Well, what are you drinking today, Luke?
Oh.
uh, Wegmans spring water. I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
try and
Oh.
skit
He's
with a
out of it.
fun name or anything. I'm fully embracing the suck.
Yeah.
You know what
Well,
probably
cheers
did
to
you in?
that.
Those
Eh.
NA beers. That little bit of
Oh,
alcohol.
so
Slancha.
I did a
Slancha.
little bit of research,
Uh,
fellas.
Well, look,
Yeah.
crack your water.
Oops, yeah, here.
Slancha.
What, you still can't have those beers well with gout?
Yeah, so turns out those are also high in purines.
I,
No, no,
I probably
so no
could have
wonder
told you that.
I was still feeling all this crap because I started looking up. Like I was looking up, I'm like, well, what's worse for gout, beer or liquor? And it's like beer by a long shot. It's something like 7.6%, purine, heightened. I don't know. I'm not good at all the science and numbers stuff.
That's soft sciences.
Yeah, soft science major. Hello. But so then I'm like, huh, okay. Well, it's not the alcohol content itself that's hurting me. So then I got thinking, are NAs different enough from beer that they wouldn't hurt me? And instead of like that 7.6%, it's like 4.4. I'm like, still hurting me. Yeah, it's still not doing good things, which really sucks. But it's a good change to make anyways for the old liver.
Sometimes it's got to be done.
It's
Yup.
kind of boring though, but it's understandable. Yeah, Luke, it's those grain alcohols, beer, including NA, shellfish, red meats.
You know, you might have told me about the NA thing.
I mean, I thought you were just an absolute animal because it sounded like it was getting better while you were drinking the NA. So I was like, oh, maybe he's just avoiding withdrawal and beating gout at the same time.
Like from what I know on my mild chemistry background, like chemically they're not that different. One just doesn't have alcohol in them.
Yeah,
I don't
now
know.
I feel terrible now because Monday I had Luke come over and finish off the rest of the wedding beer that didn't get drank, and he had about like 2 or 3 glasses of just day old from the keg sour that we had at the wedding. And I was like, "Oh, Luke's good. He's good to go. He's drinking beer. His toes all fine." Apparently not.
No,
I
They told me.
he's crippled. We're gonna cut it off
I
now.
was a bit overconfident, it would appear.
Oh,
So what was the beer for the wedding in the keg?
so we had two. We had the K2 Free Will Lager, which I really enjoyed. That thing tapped, I think, 2.5 hours into the wedding. That was gone. And then then we had the Blue Raz Sour from K2 as well because it was right down the road from the wedding venue. And I think we had like 2 gallons left over. And then so I tried to drink as much as possible. But then Monday morning, I was like, this is not going to get drunk by me, by myself before it goes bad. So I just had like, I'll invite Luke over. He'll drink my beer for me.
He's a well noted beer drinker, so that
The
was a good move.
ex-beerinator.
He took that work job very seriously. And
Yes.
I'll be giving him a raise after his quarterly performance.
Yeah, easiest ask ever. Yeah, you really had to twist my arm to get me to come over and drink some good beer, but which actually, so who wants to start with their sour? Because Matt kind of started to get into mine a little bit here.
Well,
Oh,
I'll
so
just I'll start and give the background on sours.
love
That
it.
sounds
You know,
great.
sour ales, it's an ale, pretty prototypical base beer, but the thing that's characteristic with them is they're usually like high in fruit and extracts along the like. So they're usually pretty tart. Um, you see a lot of fun flavors come out of these beers, which is why I think a lot of people like them. They're to me what got me into beer because it was like, oh, I can just drink fruit. And then I just slowly waned down the level of fruit and up the amount of shit. And now I'll drink anything you put in front of me. I will say before I kick off with my review, Matt, I know you've been itching to talk about sours. What draws you so closely to them?
So a fun story. So, my sister is the person who got me into craft beer, and she one day was like, "All right, let's test your palate, see what you can handle." And I still remember this because one of the first sour type beers I had was the Westbrook Goes, the Lime Goes. And I thought that was fantastic. And ever since then, I've been just pretty much hooked on sours. I'm never one to shy away from the sours in the quote unquote off season. I'll drink them all year round. I don't care. My wife, that's her basically go-to beer as well. That's pretty much only beer she drinks is like heavily fruited smoothie sours, kind of like our gout buddy Luke over here. So it's a great bridge gap I feel to like bring someone into beer that says, "Oh, I hate beer. It just tastes like grain and whatever." It's like, "Well, have you tried this?" And then so I love them. The only problem is they usually are a little more on the pricier side if you want to get a good one.
Yeah.
And I feel sometimes too is if you add the wrong fruit mixture to it, it can get kind of a metallic-y, gross taste. Like I had some very gross sours just because either they sat too long or the acidity of the fruit was too high, and then it just tastes like battery acid. It's unfortunate, but you got to find the good ones. Luckily, I've
All
kind
right.
of narrowed that down of who I'm looking for, and the two of the ones my two tastings today are well known for at least for me. they make great sours, so I was pretty stoked to do that.
That was another
Sweet.
thing I was going to say is that a lot of places, like, I think places that specialize in sours are really big and unique. Like K2 is a place I think that does a really good sour specialization.
Mhm.
I know Mortalis, which Luke talks about, has like their own breed of the whipped sours. Um, a place that I'll get beers from occasionally here, it's out in Madison. They are known for their like crazy sours where they just put like 14 different types of fruit and say like, here, taste them all.
Taste
Yeah,
the
I know
rainbow.
Yeah.
the one I'm drinking, Dewey, is known for making great sours. If you ever had, I know down in New York City, Evil Twin,
Yes.
their sours are fantastic as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Have you have
we had the even more Jesus from them. Irish
That's
Yeah, they
it.
make
Jesus.
great stouts as well. They make good
Yeah.
stuff all around, but I do love. They did a collab with somewhere down in North Carolina. It was like called Zeus Juice, and it was an ambrosia sour. And
Oh,
it's
I've
probably one
heard
of
of
my
that
favorite
place.
beers.
I
Oh,
know I
It
know the
is
place you're talking
so
about.
good.
It's in Charlotte, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they're a friend of mine that I work with. Her desk is next to mine. She used to live in Charlotte and has told me about it. They had this one that tasted like it was called like melted ice cream or something like that from there.
oh
Um,
so Matt, can I ask? I'm gonna ask a follow up question. As our I'll say biggest sour lover, at least right here, unless someone else wants to fight you for it. What do you consider? Excuse me. What do you consider the in season for sours?
So we're jumping right into it. End of May, Memorial Day weekend, ride you all the way through basically Labor Day.
Okay,
I feel like that's like because you got to think it's like what's a crushable like summery drinks, like pina coladas. Everyone wants to do those. Your daiquiris, your like alcoholic smoothies, your wine slushies. I think sour beers kind of just blend right into that.
fit right
Just
into
sit
it.
out on your back porch, just crack one open, have one in the shower. It's that
Yeah,
time.
you're putting
it
some
is.
ideas in my head right now.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I love it. I typically so for me, I always think like because one of my beers was it's a smoothie. Like that one, I feel like I wouldn't want during the summer. To me, that would be like a fall beer. But again, I don't know if that's
I think it
or
depends on
is
the
that
flavor
allowed?
profile
Am
of
I
it.
going to be policed for that?
Because
No, I don't care.
well, like I think I get where you're coming from, Keegan, because as I get into my first beer, I'm gonna talk about ope brewing. So ope as in like the interjection you say when you're trying to
Oh,
scoot past someone. Yeah. So very Wisconsin
I know
thing.
I know it well as an overweight man.
I
Welcome
usually
to the
just go, get
population
the
of
hell out of my
Wisconsin.
way.
Yeah, Luke's in crotchety era. No, but
The gout does things to me.
Oak Brewing, really cool space. I did a live tasting there actually. You'll see Sophie's dog on my lap during the live tasting because they let dogs there, which is really cool. But they do a series of sours called Ope Sorry, but it's like soury.
Nice. Nice.
So we tasted all but one of them, and I did my first sips on their blackberry lime. The best one I had there though was the strawberry rhubarb. That was like it was fantastic flavor combination, just the right amount of tart and sweet.
That is my
Anyway,
favorite pie. If you're gonna have a pie, strawberry rhubarb all day.
agreed.
A
Um,
classic. I have an Aunt Barb who used to make strawberry rhubarb pie, which is ironic.
Is it?
Or is it fate?
Barb.
Or fate. Yeah, I guess she kind of had to learn. Came with the territory.
Yeah, but they had a peach cobbler sour there, and that was like I drank that, and it was something that I was like, this would be perfect in the fall because you got the peach, you got the vanilla and the creaminess, and you got the graham cracker in there as well, and like the crust. It was really well done. I was thoroughly impressed by it. But the beer I chose to review was the blackberry lime, which I was I was also impressed with this one because it tasted like fresh blackberries and I'm drinking this beer, in the spring when blackberries haven't really come out yet. Like it tasted like when I would go camping with my family when I was younger, I would go pick blackberries in the woods and it would just be like you just eat fresh blackberries like it was nothing. It had a nice limey tang at the end. I thought the name was fun of the Opsori. And it's one of those no frills sours where they don't have a crazy name for it. It's just called blackberry lime, and it tastes exactly like that, and it does the job super well.
I like that. I like that a lot. And so PSA, don't always eat berries unless you know what they are, because we're an educational podcast too.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Keegan. You're gonna want to go through trial and error and
If you
figure it
Yeah,
out
that's how
because you don't know what you're missing out on in your own backyard.
Our ancestors did it.
That's true.
yeah, Luke
Yeah.
eating all those mystery berries is how he became colorblind.
Yeah, but
So I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a wise choice.
I will say I have two friends from college that have very similar like discovering they were colorblind stories. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Luke, you were like drawing a picture in like kindergarten or whatever, and you had this big, beautiful ocean, and then you came back the next day and colored it in with like completely different color,
yeah,
right?
it was like a purple against a blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my other friend, my friend John Shear, who you guys know, who Keegan went to like kindergarten with, elementary school or preschool.
Apparently, I went to pre-K with him. Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out
There's
John.
like a picture of you guys together or
Yep.
something like
Yeah, I think
that.
it's pre-K. What a
But
guy.
anyway, he was like he went to Catholic school and they were coloring in pictures of Jesus or whatever, and he colored in the sky purple, and they didn't like that. And turns out he was colorblind.
That's what McQuaid will do to you, though. They really put you in a box.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I heard stories that that's what they would do. Like the nuns would slap the wrists. I think it was like slap the wrists of my great uncles who were colorblind and just like tell them, get the colors right, get the colors right. I think I'm getting that story right. It was something like that. Well, they all got abused by the nuns in school. That came with the territory.
I can abuse you if you'd like, Luke.
Start abusing me? Yeah.
If he'd like.
Oh man, I hope this
Like-
doesn't awaken something in me.
Yeah, it's was seated deep within Luke now through years of familial trauma.
I start speaking with an Irish brogue and punching a lot.
Yeah.
And just punching a lot. Donnie, I'm gonna follow if that's okay, because I also have a no frills, like straight up beer. This is called Just Fruit, and it's from Frequentum Brewing. Luke, tell me you have the same beer, because that's what the look on your face is telling me.
No.
Okay.
But I know Frequentin well.
Yes. Yes. So Frequentum, yeah, Frequentum, yeah. Oh, I was saying it the wrong way. This is a 5.2%. This one is a pineapple mango. The other one they have is a strawberry straight up, no rhubarb. And they call both of them Just Fruit. This is legitimately a smoothie. Like because I got it on tap, which was, I'm glad I did. Like I didn't have to chew it, but it got stuck in the teeth a little bit on the way by.
And you like that.
I honestly, I did like it in this beer. There's some beers that might be a little more overwhelming, but no, this is great. I mean, again, obviously with it being a smoothie, I'm not gonna sit there and just face 20 smoothies in a row. So I wouldn't consider this a crushable beer by any means.
Not Moorish.
It is the farthest thing from Moorish as you can get. I would consider some stouts Moorish, more Moorish than this beer. But I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.25. To me, like you couldn't really tell there was alcohol in it. So it'd be one of those beers, like to me, this is a perfect breakfast beer because it's like you're having a smoothie in the morning and then you're on your way. So I definitely would recommend this to as many people as possible, especially shout out all of the Rochester people because this is in Canandaigua, right on Main Street there. So yeah, I'd recommend.
Awesome. I like when beers have those names. Like if you go on my Untapped, I had a beer at Deadbird Brewing here in Milwaukee, and it's just called literally just orange juice. And it's like a juicy IPA. And it looks I took a picture of it. It looks exactly like that. So I love those type of names. I love that like no frills, like this is just good and fruity.
They don't fuck around. They know what they want. They know
Well,
what they are.
I feel like there was an entire brand that back in my dad's back in my dad's childhood that it just all of the products were just called what they were. So you could buy beer or you could buy like crackers. Like I'll have to
Wait, I think I
ask
know
him.
what you're talking about though.
That's like food stamps food, like way back in the day, I think. Like government foods.
Was
Yeah,
my
I know
dad poor?
there's a brewery out there that their like lager is just called beer, and its label is just pure white with a black beer just written on it, and that's all it is, and that's all the description you need. It's like, oh,
Oh wait,
it's beer.
I've seen that. I
Yeah.
feel like I have an empty can of that.
Yeah, it just says beer, and it's like, oh, okay.
It
Well,
knows what it is.
I grabbed a beer. I don't know the entire like I just looked up beer on Untapped and it brings up just every type of beer in the world. But like every macro lager there is.
That's all you need.
But I grabbed one that was just called Saturday beer. And I don't know exactly what it is, but it looked good. Because it said Saturday beer and I'm gonna drink a beer this Saturday.
Nice. Luke,
Awesome.
do you want to, or actually, we're gonna save you for last because you suck.
Yeah.
Matt, why don't you go next
I
and you
got
can
him.
share your beers?
All right, so for my paragraph of a beer, the first thing I got was from Noble Shepherd. It is
Oh, I
called
knew the owners of that.
the Spanish Announce Table. It is a pineapple churro sour ale conditioned on grilled pineapple, toasted coconut, marshmallow, cinnamon, and puff pastry.
This
And
is
Holy
I don't know if you,
this
hell.
is why I love Noble
Holy
Shepherd.
hell.
Holy
I don't
shit.
like. I was kind of pumped when I first got this because I didn't read it completely because the pineapple wrestling man is jumping through a table on fire. So I was hoping there'd be chili flakes in this. So it was kind of like a spicy sour beer, but then it wasn't. But that was my fault. But it was still very good. I don't know the grilled pineapple. I don't know if you guys ever done this where you had like ribs on the grill and then you take pineapple and you put a little cinnamon and sugar on it and you just slap it on the grill. That's what it tastes like you were drinking.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
It
Did you
literally
get the
tasted like you.
That sounds so
did you get the
good.
churro notes, like the cinnamon in there, or is it mostly just
Oh
like
yeah, it was very much like a cinnamon sugar pineapple that was fresh off the grill. It was weird because the beer was cold, but you know how you get when you bite into a warm pineapple, you get that like extra burst of juicy flavor. That's what you got in this as well. And it was so good for as fact, like I was at my computer, I did like the video for the taste testing, and then I came in to play some games on my computer, and I finished it, and subconsciously every time forgot I finished it, and went back to reach for a glass, drink more, and was gone. And I was disappointed every single time. I was like, oh, I only got one. So this is definitely because it's a Berliner Weiss, so it's a little lighter. So you could definitely crush like 4 or 5 of these without even a question, because it literally just tastes like you're just eating grilled pineapple. And depending on how much grilled pineapple you can eat, is probably much you can drink out of this. It's so good. I
I
think I
like
rated it like a
that.
4.25 or 4.5. It was
I
delicious.
I was just about to ask that because I forgot to give my rating. I gave mine a 4 out of 5. But
It
four two
was
five. That sounds like a beer that you're gonna continue to buy in the future.
Yeah, I need to find this again because that's how good it was. And usually sometimes with pineapple sours, if they're too strong, it gets like acidic and bittery, but this was just sweet, delicious warm pineapple on a hot summer day. It was so good.
I
You're
know
a
I've said
poet.
and we've kind of talked
Thank
about
you.
this in the past, but it is there is a fine line. Some breweries get it, some breweries don't. And trying to experiment with really interesting flavors and flavor combinations and overdoing it, or like just what's that Jurassic Park quote? They were
No,
We're gonna need a
so
bigger boat.
no, they were
no,
so worried about if they could, whether they didn't think about whether or not they should.
yeah, exactly. Noble Shepherd is a great example of a brewery that consistently experiments and just freaking nails it. Like they're just so fun with it in such a like kind of lax way. It's enjoyable, just
So they
thoroughly.
could and they should.
They could and they should, yeah.
That's the best combo. The best combo.
Mm-hmm.
No. I love that description of like the warm sensation, Matt, because like I had a Mexican hot chocolate beer this winter, and it was like that every time you drank it, like this beer is cold, but it's warming me up inside and not in like the hard liquor way.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first sipped it, I was like, oh man, this is like, I don't know how to describe it, but the fact it was like taste buds tingled. I was like, oh man, this is so good. And then, as I said, after I finished the glass, I kept subconsciously reaching for it because I just wanted more, but I didn't have it.
That's like a pineapple characteristic because pineapples have enzymes that'll break down meat. So if you hold pineapple in your mouth too long, they'll try and eat you back.
I hear it does other things too,
What?
but I don't know.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
that's
like
the thing
it.
with pineapple. They use it as like they'll use pineapple or
To dissolve
or
humans?
kiwi. No, to like soften meat. Like if you put like a really tough steak in there, it'll like break it down and soften it up.
Holy crap.
That's wild. Can we try that with Luke? Maybe
Yeah.
Luke.
Just put your
If
toe in
you,
there.
I
No,
was
no,
just
no,
gonna
no,
say,
no, no,
just
no.
soak
Luke's
your
got the
foot in
tender
pineapple
cuts. We need
juice.
some meat. You gotta do it with me. Luke's got the nice fatty tender cuts. You gotta do it with me. I'm just all
String bean.
lean meat and bones over here. So
Yeah, I would eat Matt before I'd eat any of you.
hey, we can set that up.
It's probably the most doable.
Oh, I see we have dueling cats on the screen. Sorry, listeners, but we have cats on the screen.
Oh yeah, everyone knows about Gandalf.
This is this is Pelly. Get out of here.
He
Gandalf.
doesn't
Just
like that one.
Oh,
Gandalf the wizard.
Did you guys hear that? He meowed.
Squeeze him. See if he'll do it again.
No,
Yeah, just
he hates being.
scream.
He does not like being picked up.
I mean, you restrict him, then he can't survey his land.
he watches out the window next to my computer during the podcast. Looks at the rabbits in the backyard.
Just watching over. Luke, you want to tell us about your sour now?
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, it's a sour. That it's the sour that I had at Matt's wedding. The tasting notes or oh my god, I'm working slow today. Sorry,
He's got
folks.
gout in the
Get it
brain too, so
Get it together.
Well, for some context here, I did start my morning out by walking out the door to go to my car and drive to work, only to find that somebody had thrown a vape through the back of my through my back windshield, completely shattering it.
ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah, like late at night, some probably teenagers were driving by at a high rate of speed, as far as I can tell, and
Damn kids.
threw the vape, and again, just completely shattered it. And it was in such a way that there's not a piece that won't eventually fall off here. And I started driving away, and every time I would press on the brake, more would fall into my vehicle. It was it was pretty terrible. So yeah, that's what I'm starting with here.
That's just
But,
horrible, Luke.
Yeah, and I can't even
His
drink
rage is
beer to
endless
calm
and it has
down.
no bounds.
Anyways, back to beer. I had the Blue Raz Sour from K2 Brewing and K2 Brothers Brewing, and that's right down the street from where Matt got married. Great spot. Any of you who have gone, I'm sure you've enjoyed yourself as much as I do every time I go. But
Great back patio there.
oh yeah, just
Oh,
an
the beer
absolutely
garden
fun
is-
space.
The beer garden is Italian kissable. It's great.
Yeah,
Especially if you go on a live music night. Oh, even better.
cornhole. They got a ton of cornhole there.
You put corn in holes. You listen
Yep.
to people sing.
It's awesome. Yeah, and it's just another brewery that Matt sweet talked the employees at to get us a tour back in their brewing space. So it was, yeah, not it. That might have been the first time I was with you when you did that. But it certainly was not the last time.
No, that's a specialty of mine. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But anyways, what was so fun about this beer was that I was able to discover I could drink a lot of this in one sitting, which I'm newer.
Was that on Monday or at the wedding?
yeah. Well, I'm
Both.
newer to the world of sours for sure, and more sours not one I'm accustomed to. So it was pretty cool.
Bless you.
Oh,
Nice one, Luke.
Thank you.
So I don't know if you still have tasting notes, but
Oh, I
do.
do. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
I
never mind.
sneezed very violently.
You looked lost, so I was gonna kind of try to
Yeah, I had to let my brain
rope you
resettle
in.
after that.
It was just shaking around up there.
Self-giving concussion.
It was a weedy aftertaste with the forward flavors favoring like raspberry and blueberry tart. And ironically, that was the flavor of the vape that was smashed through my window last night. So
So K2 knew. I think it was probably the guys from K2 that came over and threw that through your window.
it was a blue raspberry vape. So thank you, Scottsville teenagers.
Did you try it? That's the real question.
Yeah, was there any juice?
No, it was first off very shattered. Second off, not my thing.
not the glass, the vape.
Yeah, they put flavored glass in my car.
um, so drinking this reminded me of one of those hard and thin like breakfast pastries you find at a continental breakfast at a hotel.
Those are called crepes and they're French. How dare you?
No,
No,
they're
like the crappy
like the
Danishes.
Danish thing, yeah.
Oh,
But in the best way. I enjoyed it a lot. I can't wait to see Matt what beer you go with at your next wedding.
that's a little rude, but okay.
A little soon on that one.
Too soon, as long as Tori didn't overhear me.
She's taking a bath. We're fine.
6.5% ABV, and I gave it a 4 rating on Untapped. Solid. I enjoyed it a lot.
Sweet.
Great wedding choice, I have to say.
I think
So
that's a
let me-
good beer that like you said earlier, Matt, it's a beer that people who don't like beer will drink. And that's one of the first beers that like got me to like beers.
Yeah, I know for when we were doing wedding, we went to K2 to do all the tastings for the sours, and there was some that were more out there that I enjoyed more than the blue raz. But I think we went with that just because it was kind of just like the easy lean in. And as as we can see, most of all the beer was gone by the end of the wedding, so I guess it was a hit.
That's
Definitely a
awesome.
good pick. Yeah. I like that idea too of bringing like 2 beers because a lot of people do the signature cocktails, like one for the bride, one for the groom. I like the idea of doing the kegs too. I think that's really cool.
That's
Well, we
what
did that
Sophie's
as
sister's
well.
doing next weekend. She's
Yeah,
doing
we
they're
did
doing the
signature cocktails as well, but mine was a gin and tonic and hers was Amaretto sour. And they were like, well, there's people that don't really want liquor. So it was like, well, let's just go to the local brewery and grab 2 sixtels. And that's what we did.
So we include all liquors. I like that.
Yeah.
All alcohols, I should say.
They
So-
were
And then we
very
had-
inclusive. I felt
Yeah, and then we
represented.
had way too much wine. Way too much wine. But what can you do?
So I do have a question because I've never had the blue raz. I don't think I've had stuff from K2. I haven't had the blue raz though. So in my head, I'm seeing. Do you remember like the blue raspberry lemonade from like Tully's?
Oh,
It comes in like the old beat up glass, got pop rocks on top. Like in my head, that's what I'm seeing coming out of this keg. But it's like a golden color, right? Like it's an actual beer color.
It's like
Or is it
dark
blue?
No,
purple.
it's dark purple.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like purple.
Okay.
It looks pretty wild.
It's not so they have a blueberry lemonade one as well,
Yeah.
which I really enjoyed. And that was like a little more towards like because the yellow gets in there, so it's kind of like lighter purple, but the blue red sour is very dark. Like it says blue, but it's more like midnight blue purple.
like
Interesting.
blue, the algae blooms that you see that you get warned not to swim in.
That caused gout.
And
Oh
colorblindness.
my God.
No, I think it's funny when you see like a beer like the one that I always think of is Leinenkugel's Juicy Peach. Like that's a very like classic anywhere you go here, you can probably get that in a can or somewhere. Or we'll get it at the ballpark here actually a lot. Like that's one of Sophie's favorite. And that's a very sweet sour. But anyway, the first time we ever saw it in a full glass, it's very light. like like lighter than like a Bud Light or something, and we're like, that is not the color I wanted it to be because it has orange on the can.
Speaking of like very blue beers, RIP to them. I'm wearing their shirt today. CB made a shark bite sour, which was like those shark blue gummies
Yeah.
in a sour beer.
I want
And let me
that.
tell you, it was neon blue when you poured
Wow.
it out. And I just remember
R.I.P.
we had a pool party at my friend's house, and we went to CB the day before, each got a growler of it. And we're like, we're gonna drink all these growlers before we leave. When we all did, and then the next morning, every one of us was like, uh, is your poop bright blue this morning? And we're like, oh, thank God. It's just not me. It's every single one of us. So it's just like, oh, that's where all the food dye went. So it was neon blue. It was delicious, though. I miss it so much. We always make a joke about we want more of that.
Well, that's a great way to end this half of the pod talking about poop.
Yeah, blue poop.
And we're back, and this will be one of our first instances of our transition music provided
We got an
by.
ad?
No ads. You're our advertisement, Matt.
Thank you, MeUndies or whoever.
Thank you, Blue Chew. Which is no, one of my buddies, Max, got one of his. He does studio recordings as a producer, and he had one of his friends who was doing some recording for the other day record us some little transitions to do in between the break, as well as he did some iterations of a theme song that I'm gonna pick out. So we've got cool
Guys,
music.
I'm honored.
Yeah, shout out
thank
Max.
you.
Awesome.
Shout out Max for making it happen. Shout
So
out
really-
Alex for drumming. It's good shit. You guys are gonna like it.
It's honestly, I think it's Matt's theme music is what it is now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I got to come back. That's what
It sounds kind of like the Pornhub theme.
Oh, perfect. I was hoping you guys would ask me what my first favorite milk podcast was, but we don't have to go into that.
Well, I mean, I think we're just pretty well set in being no one's favorite podcast. Like that's kind of
Oh
our.
yeah,
we know
That's
what
our
we said.
shtick.
It is.
Where, as we say at my company, you're a solid 3. You're not overperforming. You're not underperforming. You're just meeting expectations and chugging along, not causing a stir.
we are all our parents' favorite podcast.
Oh yeah, my dad
Yes.
loves this.
True.
My
No.
dad told me I suck.
That's part.
Oh,
In relation
Keegan.
to the podcast or just in general?
Just in general. Just in general.
That's on
He's
brand.
such a
No,
disappointment.
actually, he really likes the podcast. He just doesn't like
He's
me.
only a doctor. Ugh.
He actually, yeah, my dad actually casted the first vote to have me voted off this podcast. So
It's crazy. We're losing members rapidly.
yeah, Luke is out after last week. I'm out after this week, so it's just Donnie now.
Me and Gandalf.
Perfect.
I will say my
Just a
second
man
beer.
and his cat.
My second beer is from Youngblood Beer Co. As I mentioned earlier. I think Keegan's gonna like the name of this. It's called Sir, This is a Wendy's.
Sir, this is an Arby's. Yes.
Fruit punch sour with dragon fruit, passion fruit, orange, and guava.
Wow.
That sounds like there's a lot of flavors going on. I'm sorry. I'm also distracted because I'm drinking that Just Fruit that I reviewed, and for some reason it keeps bubbling, and I don't understand why.
Well, if you
I'll take a
recall,
sip and
Luke,
come back up.
we also had a beer that just kept bubbling over at Mortalis a couple weeks ago. It's the beer that never finished. It just kept on filling your glass. It was great.
That's
It's
quite
like
interesting.
it's like in Harry Potter or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Donnie. Go ahead. I apologize.
Oh, I was gonna say that's kind of funny. That's like the opposite. At Mobcraft here, they actually have a sour that's on nitro.
Oh,
It's their only beer that's on nitro, but it's a raspberry sour. It's really good. And it's like, you know how a sour is really crushable normally? Imagine putting it on nitro. It's just drinking juice.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really
Hey.
good.
I'm impressed.
Not to upstage Keegan, but also to upstage Keegan.
No,
I am
please
also
do.
I'm also having the Jenny Mango Peach Kolsch, but while waiting for you to come back from break, I started my one and it was like, oh, I'm halfway done with this. So then I got a second.
That's what
Oops.
that's what you
Happy
got to
Thursday
do.
is what I say.
Yeah, I mean, half day at work tomorrow. Who
I'm
cares?
I took the day off tomorrow because I only had to use had to use up half a day.
So what are our thoughts? Which one's better, the ruby red or the mango peach?
That's insulting. I'm insulted that you asked the question.
No,
I
Like
Keegan,
genuinely, like
genuinely.
I can't test
We-
this. I need to
we
learn.
Uh-oh, did Matt freeze? Matt froze.
No,
Frozen Matt.
Or he's being held up at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Either
yeah,
or,
I
really.
don't
no
know.
no
Okay,
Matt,
we have him.
I think he's back for a little bit. Yeah,
I'm
back.
here,
You're back.
whatever.
You froze.
Matt,
You
we
froze.
lost you for a second, so we didn't
Oh
hear
no.
anything you said.
So the
I didn't
mango
hear the
peach is
rant.
the best. Mango peach is the best. It's not a question. It tastes the least like a fruit cup. It's great.
And we will no longer be having guests on the podcast. See you next
That's
week.
fine. Someone's got to set the trail. I
I
guess it will be me.
So I am still split.
Well, give it a year because I think because I've got too much going on this summer. But next summer, I am planning to take Sophie on a road trip to Rochester, and I think we're loading up the fucking trunk, baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
I have given this opinion many times. So Ruby Red is the standard. That to me, that's the bar to meet. And so what Genesee did, they released the pineapple Kolsch, which I think they should not have produced as a Kolsch, and that pushed Ruby Red up higher and pushed pineapple way the fuck down. Now what they've done, this mango peach, I'm not even gonna say dead middle. It's definitely close to the Ruby Red, but it's not the Ruby Red. And I think it's overperforming because of the poor performance of the pineapple. My personal
dare
take
you.
on it.
How dare you? How dare you, sir?
I think it is a phenomenal beer. I
No,
love the mango
no.
peach.
This is
It's
a finisher beer.
It's not
This
the
is a
Ruby Red.
finisher beer. No, it's better. And I'll tell you why it's better.
Nice. That was a
No.
perfect time to freeze.
He froze.
As soon as you're making the argument.
And I'll tell you why.
He's
It's
gonna
gotta
come
be
back
his
and
internet
he's so
connection.
he's gonna be so disappointed because he's gonna have to repeat the argument.
Yeah.
No, he's going to be so proud when he comes back. He's like, and those were all the reasons why I'm correct. There he
Gotta be your
is.
internet connection, Matt.
No, it's whatever. At this point, I went through my rant. It's fine.
So
I
that
still
was
think it's better.
so I think that was Zoom and your internet telling you you're wrong. Is what I think that was.
It could be. Because what on my screen at least, it was like perfect still. I was like, what are these guys talking about? I'm still here.
Yeah,
No, I think it's an internet thing.
I had that too a couple weeks ago.
Spectrum.
It's all right.
AT&T
Spectrum,
fiber,
too.
baby.
Yeah.
Well,
But
we're
I
Rochester, that's
think
all we have.
I think as long as nobody is saying that the pineapple is the superior of the three, I can get along. I can get along
It
with it.
tasted too much like a Dole fruit.
It was
It was a
it was
Scooby Doo
snack.
fruit neck.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's
Yeah.
what it tastes
Yeah.
like. Exactly.
It was like, oh hey, this is the syrup of a Dole fruit cup we poured into a can. Congrats.
Yep. At the end of the day, I think we can all agree on that. And I'm here for it.
True. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, while Luke's gone,
And there were three.
yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, do you want
we're
to
down.
talk to us about your second beer?
That's my favorite Genesis album, and then there were three, but we don't have to get into that. That's fine. So do you want me to get into my second beer that I had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So I had Tiny S's by Prairie Artisanal Ales. It is sour ale with fruit candy flavor, and the S is supposed to stand for, you know how Skittles have each one has the little white S printed on it.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be, this tastes like Skittles. However, it tastes like sweet tarts. I got a lot more like that chalky, sweet tarty flavor. Like it's a little tart, a little sweet, because I think Skittles more like because the sour ale leads it to be a sweet tart.
Like the sweet and sour
a-
dichotomy of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I think because I believe also, correct me if I'm wrong, sweet tarts also have S's printed on them.
I believe so.
I'd have to go purchase or look them up on the internet. I can't
Okay.
tell you the last time I
Well,
had a sweet tart.
it tastes like sweet tarts. It tastes like you ground them up and just started snorting them. It's very powerful
Did
sweet tart taste.
did you guys have the
Uh,
trend in school where like kids would crush up Smarties and snort them?
Oh yeah.
What the hell
that was
was
a
that?
thing.
What the hell was
I
that?
looked down on the people. I was like, what are you doing?
I was
Yeah,
talking about like the
God.
challenges back in the day, like the salt and ice challenge where you just gave yourself frostbite,
yeah.
and
Like,
like the
what are we
cinnamon challenge
doing?
where you just gave yourself asthma. The one that I think like it was called the eraser challenge in my school, but I don't know if it was a
Oh,
challenge where you just rubbed an eraser on the back of your hand until you just got a friction burn. Like
Nope, didn't do that one.
yeah.
I
You know
didn't
what
do
I
any
I
of
did?
these.
I
You know,
remember I remember witnessing that one.
Yeah, people would come in, they'd have these freaking burn like these.
Scars,
Yeah,
skin grafts.
yeah, yeah. We started. Yeah, we created stem cells from them. Like it was just
This must
horrendous.
like gender warming than all you guys. And I think
Wait, Matt. Okay, say that last part again.
so. I think I'm almost like, what are they talking about? That was not.
I mean, I think it's just the internet age, honestly. You're trying to
yeah.
like
Could be
it's
that.
You
it's
just see
kids getting
videos of people swallowing Tide Pods, and you're like, I want to do that.
dude, you guys know I worked in laundry detergent like right after that whole shit happened. It was
So
not fun.
did you
It
have to
changed
test
the
the
industry.
caps for swallowability, basically?
No, what like we would have to get it like we'd have to get it child resistant tested. And the way you get child resistance is like you get a like one of those focus group rooms full of like 8-year-olds. I'm not kidding. And
And you're just like,
you
open it.
no, yes. So what you do is you put it in front of them and you say, open this. And then what you do is you
Ask
after
them to
like
swallow it.
no, after like 10 minutes, if they don't do anything, you go in and you show them how to open it once. And then you put it in and you say, all right, try it. If they still can't do it, after like another 10 minutes, you say, okay, get into it however possible. Like,
Now try to eat this package.
yes, exactly.
Like-
And that's when, like, and if it passes all of that, then it's child resistant. Because child resistance, you need two distinct motions, whether it be squeezing and twisting or like
That was
like a
Luke's name in high
push and
school.
turn, squeeze and pushing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the way I envisioned it is just like the scientist or the testers come back into a room. They're all meeting. They're like, well, about 80% of the 8-year-olds ended up swallowing the package of Claritin Clear. So they're we're gonna need some more 8-year-olds. Like
Non-drowsy Claritin. Yeah. So it was an interesting time, but it was cool to learn about. Back to Matt's
Yes,
beer.
Matt, we diverged a lot. I apologize.
You're 100% fine. It was I had about 3 K2 sours before this one. So I remember when I was drinking this, I was like, I gotta at least write this down so I can remember what I thought about it. But other than that, it was basically just like drinking a very fruity sweet soda. It was definitely one where if you have a high tolerance to sugar, you could drink a bunch of these. But after the first one, I was like, I'm done. This
That
is way too sweet.
that's not
If you like
me.
sweet things, yeah, I think I rated this like a 3.75. I was like, it's
I'd said it
good.
about there.
It was like it's good for the one, and then that's about it because you're gonna put yourself in a diabetic coma by the end of the night if you have more than one. I mean, I love Prairie. Prairie is my wife's. Their peach cobbler sour that they do in the fall is my wife's favorite beer. I always look out for it. This one is definitely a one.
Well, that a lessish beer.
Yeah, still good,
It's
but
not bad, but it's you have one and you're good.
yeah, Move
Less
on
is
to something
more.
more mild
Yeah.
afterwards, let's say.
Less is more, you know?
Sure, sure.
Speaking of less is more, if I can jump in quick, I looked like an absolute idiot this weekend. So for the so I'm in
More than
Rochester
usual.
more than usual. Yes, more than usual
He beat
for
you to it.
my sister's graduation. So she graduated from Cuca College. Shout out Maddie.
Oh,
Maddie.
Maddie.
So we went to Abandoned Brewing after the ceremony because it's like whatever 10, 15 minutes from there. And I got this rye whiskey stout. First of all, I enjoyed the beer. It definitely like right off the bat hits you with like that rye kind of scent and flavor throughout. I thought it was a really good beer. 11%, so it's a strong beer. Definitely boozy. So, um, when the guy who was pouring, I wanted to call him a barista for a second, but I was like, he's not
Beer
really
tender?
a barista. He's a beer tender. Um, so he poured my mom. She got a sour that was decent, and then poured my dad like a lager or something like that. But my mom wanted to try him first, so he got one of the small like tasting glasses. And so I was like, oh, you know what? Like, let me just have that rye stout. And he's like, all right, I gotcha. And he pulls out a similar size. It was like a whatever, a 10-ounce pour or something like that. And not even registering the fact that this is an 11% beer in my head because I just went after the name. I was like, oh, can I actually have like a pint of it? And he goes, no.
You fool!
He was like, that'll knock you on your ass. I was like, oh shit, it's 11%. You're so right. You're so right.
I know what I'm talking about.
But it was just like he was dumbfounded. He looked at me and was like, no. So yeah,
Legally,
so
no.
yeah, legally I cannot pour you that. Yeah, but good beer. Check out Abandoned Brewing. Very cool. We got shared on their story. We got shared on Jenny's story twice.
We got followed back by Fermentorium and
Yep.
by Torzala, who I was at.
We're
It's
making big moves.
It's a great week, fellas.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
In
Moving on
some
up.
ways.
Yeah,
In
not
some
in
ways.
Luke's world. In our
Not-
world, it's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. I mean, I can
about
talk
yours.
about my one if you want. Okay. So, went with a Rochester beer. I'm gonna go back to the other side of my roots with this one. So this is a Lord Hobo beer. So out of Woburn, Mass.
Woobun,
Um,
bud.
Woburn. Gotta go to Woburn if you want Lord Hobo. Um, and so this is a cranberry orange sour ale called Kevin, and it's a set can because it's like a newspaper article basically.
Kevin's back.
It's yeah. And so Kevin was this like I guess super mean. I had to look up the story, but like the super
Notorious.
egregious, like turkey egregious. Aggressive is the word I was looking for, but he was probably
Spills
egregious
all
as
his
well.
chili everywhere.
Um, but yeah, it was just this aggressive turkey, I guess, and they named a beer after him. And I enjoyed Kevin's beer. It definitely made me think a little bit more of a like a Thanksgiving time of year. For me, I just kind of associate a lot of cranberry with that because like the cranberry sauce.
Fair.
But really, what this tasted like, if anybody, this is one of my favorite breakfast drinks, is taking like some orange juice and like a splash of cranberry or something like that to sweeten it up a little bit. This was like it was that. It was really really good. Um, the tasting notes that I had for it, it definitely had that strong cranberry aroma, very especially compared to the Just Fruit. A much more mild appearance is how I'll say it. Still hazy, but much more golden. I called it mid to light bodied, but I wouldn't drink a lot of them. So I think it was a light bodied lessish beer. More for me because of the sweetness, kind of like you were saying with your beer, Matt. Where it's like you have a couple and you're like, all right, that's enough sweetness for now. I rated a 3.75 on here. I think it probably could have been a 4. I was kind of between it. I wish I could give it like a 3.9 would be what I would like to give this beer. I probably should have just given it a 4 in hindsight, but I enjoyed it. I'd drink it again. I'd recommend it. So Kevin did the job.
Great job, Kev.
Shout
Pat
out
on the
Kevin's.
back.
Shout out Kevin's all around the world. No, I get what you mean with the cranberries. Like, I mean, cranberries, you harvest them in the fall and stuff like that. And so it's Like there indeed has a spruce cranberry Kolsch that they had this
Ooh.
winter. That was like it didn't taste too much like spruce. It was mostly cranberry, and it was really really good. So
Don't you
I
flood the fields to harvest?
yeah, do you guys
Yeah.
know the deal
Cranberry
with
bogs.
cranberry bogs? They
Oh,
use wolf spiders as pest, like natural pest control in there, and so they like keep them like they raise them in the bogs. And so when you stand out in the bogs and flood them, the spiders go to the highest point outside of the water. So you have like 30 wolf spiders just on top of you, trying not
Oh
to
my
be wet, and you're
God.
trying not to cry.
yep.
Oh,
And there's a hole in that bog, and the bog is down in the valley.
down in the
Down
valley.
valley. All right.
where the
So my
watermelons grow.
yep,
We should drink to that song next time.
we should. We should.
Where the watermelons
I love
grow.
Rafi, man. He's a bang. He makes bangers.
It's funny because my family's cottage just off of the Cape is on what's called the Cranberry Highway. So it's Route 6. It's like there are cranberry bogs for like just miles, it seems like. Um,
Oh,
so
I
yeah,
know
Wisconsin and
that song.
Massachusetts are like the two cranberry states.
That
I
song
didn't
by
I love
know
it.
I
America.
didn't know that they were. And
Cranberry
Wisconsin-
Highway in the sun.
Hey, we don't want to get demonetized. Stop that.
Yeah, wait.
I love how like also cranberry season can like start in Thanksgiving. You get a lot of cranberry orange, and then you go into Christmas and you get cranberry honey. And I'm like, ooh, speaking my language. Love a cranberry beer.
I think it's because cranberry's not an overpowering flavor, which is
No,
nice. And
I
like
I
it
think
feels like
because
you
it's
can put a lot in and it will continue to know its place.
I think because it's also like sweet. So you usually have to pair it with sweeter, like
Yeah.
very well doing for fall, early winter.
Yeah, it's never by itself.
yeah, I agree. It's like it's a great sweetener. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I've had cranberry sours that was the prime point, and they're usually not good. And like you gotta throw something else in here.
Got to balance it a little bit.
Yeah.
No, like a lot of times you have like cran cherry or like cran orange, like in
Right.
pastries, a lot of times when they use cranberries.
hmm
So I'm all for it. Bring me the cranberry beers. The cranberries, even.
You got 5 months.
Beers,
You got
yeah.
5
knew
months.
Something was coming.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'll go to my second beer.
Absolutely.
This one's it's a collab beer. Microphone Brewing, not microphone, Mike R Phone Brewing. It's in Illinois, but they did a collaboration with 1840 Brewing, which is literally just down the street from me here in Bayview, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Shout out,
It's
baby.
called We Go Together Like, and it's got a little caricature of Sandy and Danny from Grease on there. And it is a soft sour ale with strawberries and peanuts.
Oh,
And
Oh, we're
so
getting close.
I'm in.
When you see my first sips of this, it looks like a peanut butter strawberry protein shake in a glass.
Oh.
Is it chunky?
No, it's smooth, but
Oh.
it tastes
Do you have a lot of
exact.
floaters?
I'm sorry.
Does it have like a lot of floaters in it? Like
No, it's all
particles of,
smooth.
like-
It's like homogenized. It's
Oh.
perfectly smooth. Which when it said peanuts and not peanut butter, I was like, that's interesting. But this tastes, and I am not exaggerating, exactly like a strawberry uncrustable sandwich.
Oh.
I gave this
Donnie.
beer a 4.5. It was one of those things I sniffed it and I'm like, whoa. And then as I drank the full pint, like the full pound of it, it was like this beer is growing on me. It feels like everything, like I haven't had an Uncrustable in years, and it tasted like the fact that it evoked that feeling immediately from me, I think really speaks to it.
Oh, that is way
I
cool.
wanna request that this be thrown in my beer box, please.
Okay.
Or at
I
least
will-
save me some.
They sell it at the liquor store down the street. I'll get you some.
That
I
sounds
would like you
incredible.
to feed it to him like a mama bird.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
For the context, Matt, I'm working on Milwaukee craft beer packs to send to the guys.
Yeah, I just listened to the episodes. I want to make a joke. I'm like, that's the guy from St. Paul, right?
Yeah.
He is. I
Like-
will say, Matt is one of our like number one fans. Besides my
Yeah,
Our
like
only
my
fan.
mom and
Steven.
like
Monday
Casey,
at
my
noon,
cousin
every day on my
Casey.
lunch break, let's
Yeah.
put on Beer That Drunk That
Hell
every
yeah.
single Monday.
Yeah.
But speaking of like the Uncrustables, Evil Twin did a collab with I forgot who. Oh, Burley Oak. They did a Dub Dream, which was their peanut butter blackberry strawberry jam sour, and it tasted like you liquefied that sandwich into a beer. And it's one of my favorite beers. I look for it any single time it comes out. It literally tastes like you're liquefying a PB&J sandwich into a beer. It's so good. That's why I want to try that one. When he said it tastes like an Uncrustable, I'm like, yes, please give me that.
I'd say look for it out there. I don't know what beer what the ordering beer online laws of New York are, but like if you can get it shipped from Illinois somewhere, like I would say do it. It's really, really good.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna fight Luke here because Luke's a Beers of the World man, and I'm a AJ's man. AJ's Beer
Oh,
Warehouse, which is like
AJ's.
a mile and a half down the road from that. And everybody says that, I'm like, Luke, you gotta go to AJ's. Their selection is smaller, but it's better.
AJ's kicks ass for kegs too.
They do.
Oh,
Yes,
yep, I
they
know the
do.
place now you're talking about. Yep.
I know for my wedding, I got the kegerator, not the kegerator, the jockey box, which is like the CO2 through the basically picnic cooler that they wire up full of coils, so it keeps your beer cold, and you don't have to pump air in it all the time. But yeah, that's where I go. That's where I got all my beers from. I'm a big shout out Asia's Beer Warehouse. Beers of the World can go suck a nut, but
No, no, no.
I'm gonna say it may be
Listen, I'm not going
controversial.
to talk down on AJ's. I'm just going to say the
You're
reason
wrong.
why I love Beers of the World is because the selection is so massive. Okay.
They do have that, but AJ's gets a lot of niche tiny things because they have. I don't know if more Beers of the World have this, but Mortalis comes through AJ's.
I'm going to have to take a look
They have AJ's ships in
at
every
Beers of the
Friday.
World, see if they have it.
They don't. I'm just gonna say it.
Luke's horizons have been broadened like the last 2 episodes in a row.
I will never turn my back on Beers of the World.
I'm not saying that.
You don't have to.
You
I'm not
know,
a
but-
coward. I'm
I
not
vary where I
France.
shop for my beers. Like sometimes I go like I know Avenue Liquor down the street from me has like their single can selections of stouts and sours is really, really good, but everything else it's like so-so. So I'll usually go to Total Wine just because they have insane variety there. It's kind of like a Beers of the World situation. But I will still like I can walk there, so it's very, very convenient for me.
Well, I've still been going to Beers of the World even for the NAs. I mean, I have to be consoled in my state of just crying and sobbing and screaming when I get up to check out, but I still will go there. They have like two full giant shelf aisles.
My wife
Full
just
of
texted
NAs.
me saying one stop beer shop in Gates was better for sours, but it's even smaller. Well, she's got me there, but
No, it's hard to find a good place that does good variety and breadth well because again, it's like breweries. A lot of times they specialize.
Yeah.
Like Total Wine's a corporation. Like I don't love going there, but it's the fact that they have a lot of single cans and they source really well. They have a lot of local places, but also like I can find some stuff from New England and New York there, which is awesome. Like that Loganberry sour I had. Like
The Great Northeast.
yeah. I
Oh,
think
that
about
Loganberry.
Yeah,
you
I
guys
mean,
got to
Doc,
look for that. Like
I
that's
do.
an amazing beer.
I've had it. I wanted to scream
anything
so
that has
loudly at the
Logan.
podcast. I was like, I've had that. It's great. Ah!
It's so freaking. Doesn't it taste exactly like a Loganberry soda?
It's so good.
Yeah.
I love what that brewery does.
I've never had anything else from them.
Really?
No,
Oh
I just
man.
saw like Sophie just said Loganberry, and I was like, and I just didn't I froze up and didn't have any words.
Resurgence does a lot of like Buffalo Bills themed beer as well. And
Mhm.
it's like, oh well, it's the season. I guess I'll support the Bills.
Yeah. The only Bills themed beer I've ever had was from K2, and it was their Squish the Fish Ghost, which is their ghost made with
Hey.
Swedish fish.
That's also good.
Another good one.
Yeah. Well, as we're winding down here, Keegan, do you have a question for us this week?
I do, and we're gonna get controversial.
Oh,
I know I've
boy.
said that in the
Oh,
past.
I had a
but-
question. I had a question too, but it's fine.
No, Matt, rip it. I'm all for a guest question. I can save mine.
Okay, so my question is, what is better? You have to pick from these three choices. A shower beer after a nice hot day out mowing the lawn, a middle of winter hot tub beer,
Ooh.
or 9 a.m. tea time, crack open the first one of the front nine.
Ooh.
That
Ooh.
that's a good
Wow.
question.
I think I know my answer because I just did it earlier in the week. But that's a very good question.
I think I
yeah.
know mine.
I always flip flop depending on what I'm doing because I'm like they're all fantastic. Like
Well,
I
'cause
can
you
pick
like
anyone.
you have to think of the one that you long for, like that you're yearning for throughout
See,
the rest of the
for
year.
me, living in upstate,
Oh, is this me? Come on, internet. Oh
Uh,
shit.
Spoil where I sit in this argument. But let's just say I lawn for
oh,
Wow.
a decent beer in a place where I clean myself.
Yep. The cops are on the way to your house, Luke.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
lost it
gross.
at the very end. I didn't know how to end it,
Gross.
so I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, just gonna go with that.
If you don't know, Matt, the apartment that I live in, the duplex I live in, came with a shower beer holder already installed in the shower.
Living the dream.
Yeah. Well, do you want to save your question for next week, Keegan?
I'll save mine. I like that question a lot.
That's a very good one, Matt. I think maybe we should start making our guests do that. Make them work a little.
Yeah, earn their keep.
Freeloader.
Well, our upcoming week is going to be New England IPAs specifically.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
New England IPAs. Heady
Hey, that's
topper
perfect.
incoming.
Socks.
That
I know. I love the heady
And
topper.
That was the
and
first
you got
one.
here, fuck Boston.
Oh,
Heady toppers from Vermont.
No. He said go Sox, and I said fuck
Oh.
Boston.
Let's go Sox, baby.
Well,
I'm glad you saved that for the end because
Well-
we may have had a very short podcast otherwise.
Wrap it up.
No. New England IPAs, the first one ever was Heady Topper.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why it's like so famous.
Oh,
But I think it'll be a good one. There's
I
no
agree.
shortage of them in the world.
for sure. Never a
And
doubt.
I'll listen in to next week.
But you won't be here.
And you know why you won't be here, Matt? Because of that comment you just made.
Yep.
You had me
Fine, I'll
on
be
No
back in
longer
3
coming
weeks.
back.
You
I'll be
blew
back
it.
in 3 weeks.
We're doing every third episode is just sours due to the
It's-
sheer volume of them on the market. We've opened the floodgates.
Well, Matt, I'm very happy this finally worked out, and I'm so glad that you postponed your honeymoon so that you'd be able to join us for
That's
this.
the reason why I did it.
Yeah.
That's commitment. That's commitment.
What's better, a lifetime of happiness or a couple beers?
I mean,
One and
What's
the
the
same.
difference?
That's what I'm saying. I view them on the same plane of existence. But no, thank you for coming on, Matt. This has been
It's been a
awesome.
pleasure, guys. Nice to see the faces to the voices.
Yeah.
Except
for Luke.
Which
I see
is-
him almost every day.
So now
Yeah,
what's going
sorry,
to
by the way.
happen is Matt, as our #1 fan, is not going to listen ever again because he saw our face.
Yeah, I'm done.
He just wanted to butter us up so that he could get on. Now he's like, okay, the thrill's over. I'm done.
Yeah, he can just
Yeah,
spread
it
his
sucks.
propaganda.
I'm done.
We've given him a platform.
And the Fed. What?